In music, one doesn't make the end of a composition the point of the composition. If that were so, the best conductors would be those who played fastest. And there would be composers who wrote only finales. People go to concerts just to hear one crashing chord, because that's the end. But we don't see that as something brought by our education into our everyday conduct. We've got a system of schooling which gives a completely different impression. It's all graded. And what we do is we put the child into the corridor of this grade system with a kind of, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And yeah, you go to kindergarten, you know, and that's a great thing because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then, come on, first grade leads to second grade, and so on, and then you get out of grade school, you've got high school, and it's revving up, the thing is coming. Then you're going to go to college, and by Jove, then you get into graduate school, and when you're through with graduate school, you go out to join the world. And then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance. And they've got that quota to make. And you're going to make that. And all the time, this thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. I'm there. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. And there's a slight letdown because you feel there's a hoax. And there was a hoax. A dreadful hoax. They made you miss everything. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage, which had a serious purpose at the end, and the thing was to get to that end, success or whatever it is, or maybe heaven after you're dead. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or to dance while the music was being played.
La 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 la. Andy motherfucking Balmore. What's your real name, man? You go by aliases.
Balmore Andres Prudencio.
Whoa. Whoa. Can we get that one more time?
Balmore Andres Prudencio.
Oh, oh, oh. Andre Balmore Prudencio.
Balmore is the first name.
Balmore.
Balmore, that's in Spanish. Andres, Andrew. That's where Andy came from.
Okay.
And Prudencio.
So why aren't you Andres?
Are we recording?
Yeah.
I was so I got kicked. I used to go by Balmore, like first, kindergarten, first, second, third. Never really liked it because I always got made fun of.
It's a unique name.
Yeah, but my dad left us around second grade, around there, and that is his middle name. Balmore is his middle name. And then when I changed schools, I got kicked out of third grade, and I went to a new school, and I didn't want to go by Balmore anymore, so I went by Andrew.
Oh.
But when I
whitened up.
But when I went to that school, there was like 6 other Andrews in the class, and it was the middle of the school year. So the teacher was like, we're just going to call you Andy, make it easier. And then it just stuck ever since.
Here you are, man.
There it is.
And look at you now.
Yeah. And then so Balmore, that's how you say it in English.
Yeah.
It's Balmore. My grandma would call me Balmorito. Balmore, I never, all through junior high, high school, like I was ashamed of it. So the beginning of the school year, with every teacher, I would go up before they announced the names and say, "This is Andy." like I had to make sure, and they would still fuck it up. They would still say, Balmore? Andy! I told you! And
so you're in a group of people who don't know you.
Yeah.
First impression, it's fucking Andy!
Yeah. So I was always ashamed of it. And then, Andy Balmore came from a guy named Frank Park that I used to train with over in where I started.
Where was this?
At De La O Jiu-Jitsu.
De La O.
Yeah.
That's in nearby?
Yeah, I was in Anaheim for a while, and when I first went, and then it went moved to Stanton. And so he found out about Balmore somehow. I don't know how, but he found, or maybe I might have even just told him. And when I was like started fighting, like he was like, Andy Balmore, like it goes perfect. And then he would always throw like an Italian thing, Andy Balmore, Balmore.
Andy Balmore.
Yeah, so yeah, that's where
Non dispace.
that's where it came from.
Okay. How long you been fighting, man?
I fought from 18 basically to 22.
18, 22?
Yeah.
You're pretty successful in that time, man.
Yeah.
I did some research, man. You went on a hot streak.
I did. I went. I don't know if the record's right on SureDog, but I have 2 different names on there because of the Andy Balmore and the Balmore. I have 2 different names on SureDog.
You get aliases.
Yeah, but I went 7.
So you get one shit record and one great one?
They're both good, but they just like they're like half and half, I think.
Yeah.
Or like a quarter and the rest. But I went 7-1 professionally, and then I had like 2 amateur fights. But those amateur fights were like, you know, it was like, do you want to throw elbows? Do you want to throw elbows? Sure. You want to throw knees? You want to throw knees? Sure.
Like
What's your weight? 160? I got a 180 for you. Okay. We getting paid? Nope. You could have a chicken dinner. You know, that's about it.
Oh, you got dinner?
Yeah, sometimes
That's
you get
nice.
dinner or you know, whatever. And you get a nice trophy. But so I had those 2 fights before, and they're basically pro, you know, but they just weren't ranked.
Yeah.
But this was all before the commission, so before sanctioned fights.
Okay.
Just
so,
before I was in the transition.
So what year is that?
I graduated high school in 04. So right around then, 05.
Okay.
So 05.
Non-sanctioned fights, you couldn't have them in like established arenas, obviously.
No, you.
Is that what it means?
You.
What's the difference?
There was no. There was no California. They weren't sanctioning fights. There was no California Athletic Commission.
So a company could legally put on any fight anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no restrictions.
That's basically what it was, but I think, you know, I may be butchering it a little bit, but there was just no California Athletic Commission.
Because I know for a while they had to do them on Indian reservations.
Yes.
That's when the commission came in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around then. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But we were having them at normal places too. So it wasn't like, it just wasn't sanctioned. And then they came in around halfway through my career. And it was just a big mess. Like, they were complete assholes. They treated you like you were a scumbag. You know, they would search your bags. You weren't allowed to have you weren't allowed to have Gatorade, nothing.
No Gatorade?
No, you couldn't even bring your own water. They had to provide water. You know, because everything was a performance enhancement. Everything.
Oh, you got 2 names? All right, let's see your bag.
Yeah.
Balmore. Okay, let's.
It was a mess. It was a big mess. They were assholes. It was stressful. They made it super stressful for all the fighters. So you can imagine, you know, fighting's already super stressful, and then you got to deal with this commission, you know, and
adding logistics to fear.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was. I used to fight right here in Irvine, a production called Battle in the Ballroom, which was like a really big, good promotion here, and it was at the Marriott. It was in the ballroom, you know, and it was Roy. I always mess up his last name. Roy Ellenberger. He's the guy who throws the fights at the hangar. Still, and he's an old school boxing guy. He's been throwing boxing matches since the 80s, I believe. But he's a good guy. Like, he would take care of all the fighters, like get us hotel rooms, pay us good, give us a per diem. Like, he was like the only guy doing that around here. So everyone wanted to fight for him because he was actually like treating you like a normal person.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, the fight life is rough.
Yeah, did you enjoy it? Like, did you enjoy being in there?
I did. You know, everyone fights for different reasons. I never really, like, in the beginning, it was never really like, I want to be in UFC, like, or anything like that. Like, UFC actually didn't even have I don't even think they had a 55 yet when I first started fighting.
Right.
155 got added like midway, and then 45s and 35s weren't even on there.
And what was your weight?
I fought 35s and 45s.
Okay,
Mainly
yeah.
45s, but I dropped 35 once. Yeah. So I mean, nowadays I would be at 35. There's no way. 45 would be too small.
Mm-hmm.
But what the hell was I saying?
You liked fighting.
Oh
Everyone has
yeah,
their
the
own
fighting.
reasons.
Yeah. So it was you know, everyone fights for their own reasons, and you know, me, I don't know. I always fought growing up, and
All street fights.
a lot of street fights.
Really?
A lot of fights in school. I was known in the neighborhood for that. But I was a nice guy. Like, I just, because I had early on, like, I used to fight bullies all the time. That was what I did. I fought all the gangsters in my neighborhood.
Were you always on the smaller side growing up?
At first, I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew fast, and then I stopped growing at 7th grade.
Okay.
And everybody else grew. You know,
I
so
imagine
like,
you had the beard back then too.
I could grow a facial hair, definitely. I had something going on.
Something I'm still working towards.
Yeah, you'll get there. But keep drinking tea. It'll help.
Is that the key? Because I'm trying, man. I drink a fuck ton of tea. This tea's from China, man. There's something in it.
Put some MCT oil and butter. Maybe you'll get.
Is that the way?
Yeah.
I knew that with my coffee for a while, man. And I still get weird looks. People don't. It creeps my dad out every time he sees me do it.
With the butter and it's good.
Butter in a drink?
I can't even drink normal coffee anymore.
Oh, really?
I have to drink I want to drink that all the time.
Bring your own butter places?
Pretty much. You know, ask them to blend it for me. They look at me all crazy. You know? But yeah. So the fighting. I mean, yeah. Towards the end, actually, I was like getting severe anxiety, like, coming out, and you know, my last 2 fights, I had got my lady pregnant. I was 22. I had my last fight against Raja Shippens, who's still fighting now. He's doing really good over in Australia. I think he's got a big fight coming up in Colorado. Local guy, good guy. I train with him now. You know, he comes into Costa Mesa when he's in town. You know, that last fight, I pretty much knew it was going to be my last fight because there was no money in fighting, and I needed to support my family.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of like, all these things came up, like I don't want to kick because I don't want to hurt my shins and my knees, and you know, I'm afraid to throw a lot because I can't break my hands. I got to work and feed my kids. My kid's about to be born in 1 month, you know, and all these fears came in that never came in before, and that was a real mind fuck because you can't be like that fighting. You know, you can't. You know,
no reservations.
Or at least you have to be able to subside it or be above it. But it was really getting to me. And, you know, you meet somebody else like Raja, right? You meet somebody else that doesn't have that and is only trying to kick your head off, you know? You could get badly damaged.
Yeah.
You know, and
you could get damaged worse than your fears were telling you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're worried about your hand. This dude's taking out your consciousness.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like a lot of that came up the last 2 fights that I didn't have when I wasn't gonna have a family. You know, and where I was just young and careless and didn't matter and angry. You know, and so those last 2 fights those came up, and you know, when I had my last fight, that's the last one I lost. It was a split decision, a really close fight against Raja. That was the only loss I had, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this.
Do you think, like, in an alternate universe, if there was a check in front of you, like there is now, if you're on, like, Dana White's Contender Series, if the Ultimate Fighter was around, would you have gone head on into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think so?
There was no money in it.
Yeah.
There was no money in it back then. And I mean, there's still not a lot of money in it, and the competition is even better nowadays.
The competition's insane.
So it's hard. So it's still just as hard to make it. But now, I feel like you have the opportunities to go get the training you need anywhere now. Like, so it's all up to you. You know, like back then it was a lot about like who you know too. You know, back then it was if you're gonna make it big. You know, but I mean, I was fighting King of the Cage when it mattered.
That was a big deal back then.
Yeah, it was.
Rampage was there.
Rampage had just left and went to Pride.
Okay.
Charlie Valencia was the champ. Uriah Faber was the champ.
Wow.
Diego Sanchez was the champ.
Wow.
You know, I was in the corner with these guys, like watching them, you know, and how they held themselves before a fight. You know, and like a lot of where I'm very calm before I fight. What was that?
His mask just fell.
Oh.
We're in Andy's backyard. There's a bunch of shit going on.
Yeah.
There's wind.
It's beautiful though, right?
It's incredible, man. You got a nice little creek, a little pond.
And ducks and turtles.
You got some baby shit hanging around.
I got a mantis hanging.
Right before we started recording, Andy brought out a mantis and put it on his flower. Yeah. I completely forgot about it, man. It's really nice.
Yeah, he just hangs
it's relaxing.
there. He just hangs there and catches flies. It's cool.
When I came in here, your kids were all running around, being adorable.
Yeah.
Told me all about their mantis. He just got its wings.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about mantis just sitting here, man.
Yeah. Mantises are awesome. We'll get to the mantises. But, so...
And were you working at Sharky's at this time, too?
I was, but I got a job there when I was 19.
You know someone there?
Ron Turner.
Ron Turner was working there.
Ron Turner was the head door guy, and he's the guy who got me the job. Yeah.
So you met Ron
I met
and
Ron
Casey, I assume, at De Lo.
At De Lo, yep.
At De Lo.
Yep.
You guys hit it off. It's nice guys.
Yeah, I mean, I met Ron and Casey when I was 16. That's the first time. Actually, Casey, probably a little later. I think he might have came in just after, or we came in right around the same time.
Okay.
But Ron was already there. I was 16 years old. I was in high school. I had like a little bit of wrestling, but you know, for me in high school, I was such a fucktard. You know, I was so busy partying and
it's hard to get good at wrestling without that discipline, showing up every day.
I was tough though, so they just used me as a body. You know, like they just threw me around. You know, and yeah, it's actually a funny story on how I got invited to the team. So. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, I was a punk rocker.
Cool.
Like Liberty spikes, mohawks, tight pants, boots, you know, the whole nine. You know, and I was walking through the field at the end of school, and I was going through the field, and the football practice was going on, and these football players started talking shit. And like, fuck you, you know.
Just because you look ridiculous?
Just because I look ridiculous.
They don't know you?
No. And I had got kicked out of my other school and started going there, so I was pretty new.
How many times you kicked out of schools?
A lot. I got kicked out of kindergarten, dude. I got kicked out of kindergarten,
so, yeah,
3rd grade.
This dude with the beard has to go.
6th grade, 7th grade, 9th grade. 11th grade. Yeah, it was a lot. But so I'm walking through and they start talking shit, and you know, I'm punk rock and don't give a shit. You know, I'm like, fuck you, come on. And the guy rushed me, right, and like went to tackle me with his pads on and everything. And I just sprawled heavy on him and shoved his helmet right to the grass and just boom, and spun around to his back. You know,
off intuition, or someone showed you this?
I watched UFC.
Okay.
That was it. And I watched, and I fought a lot, but I that was like early UFC, like UFC.
You saw Mark Coleman do it.
Yeah, I mean, I have been a fan.
T. Ortiz, was he around?
Yeah, he was already in. Yeah. So yeah, I spun around the back, and then I didn't put hooks in because I didn't know, you know, good technique or anything, but I started trying to strangle him, you know, and the coach ran over and pulled us off, you know, and he's like, he separated us, and he's like, hey, have you wrestled before? I'm like, no. He's like, you want to? I'm like, sure. You know, and then I went next day to practice.
That's awesome.
And the football coach was the wrestling coach. And he had saw me sprawl and everything, so he was like, he got natural intuition for it.
See, this is why I like you, Andy. We have such different lives. Yeah. Just to point the exact opposite. You were so tough that they got you onto the wrestling team. I showed up to the wrestling team, and they're like, are you sure about this, dude? I mean, it's going to be rough. Yeah. And I was like, no, I've been here for about 3 years. Like, this isn't your first day? Fuck, dude. All right. Let's, if you want, man. Yeah, if you're going to run, we're going to do some push-ups. Can you do a push? Okay.
Can you do a push-up? Hey, but you stayed at it.
I stayed at it, man. I stayed at it for 3 years,
Yeah.
and then I lost my virginity, and I was like, I don't need to wrestle. I don't need there's no benefit. Didn't really train for about
Beautiful.
3 years, and then my senior year of college, I started doing jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Where did you start at?
Wrestling?
No, jiu-jitsu.
Oh, in San Diego. I went to the University of San Diego, and so there's a billion schools right there.
Yeah.
And so I just stood at my house and threw a rock, and it was Pitbull Jiu-Jitsu was the first one I
Okay.
hit.
Yeah.
And I went in there, it was beautiful. Joao Cunha was there.
Yeah.
Right before he went back to Brazil. Are you familiar with these guys?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. So he brought in a guy from Brazil, Poppy, who didn't speak any English, and I thought it was so fucking cool.
All gi, right?
I thought it was so cool. All gi. Once a week they did no gi, and no one would come.
Fuck that shit.
It was beautiful, man. I thought it was so great. It was in a basement. It smelled a little bit like weed around.
Yeah.
No one really asked questions. As soon as you're on the mat, the next person to come in shakes everyone's hand, looks in the eye, asks you how you doing. They don't recognize you. They introduce themselves. I thought it was great. I thought it was so cool. So I did that for a year in college, and then as soon as I graduated college, I flew to Asia. I hopped a one-way flight. I broke up with my girlfriend. Didn't even bring a gi. Just packed a bag and flew to Asia.
Nice.
Lasted there 2 years. I ended up getting a job in Taipei. I started doing jiu-jitsu there again.
Cool.
Because, like, people around here, man, because we live, like, in the best jiu-jitsu place in the world,
Yeah.
Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, it's objectively the best place in the world. They have this, like, racist thing where, like, I tell them, like, I used to train in Taiwan. Like, oh, so you trained on YouTube and
Yeah.
you met one white guy in the subway. It wasn't like that at all, man. We had a Nova Uniao black belt from Japan.
Oh, cool.
Like an amazing, like the most technical guy I've trained with still.
Yeah.
I still use his moves on guys at our gym all the time. He's the only guy to show me a Brato Plata.
Yeah.
A legit technique that
Yeah.
not many people use.
Yeah, I can't use it.
No?
Not really, no.
Legs too small?
Yeah, I've been shown it, and, you know, like many moves, though.
Yeah.
You know, it might fit my game in another year or two.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I remember, who was showing? Someone did a seminar on it.
On Brato
Yeah,
Platas?
I'm pretty sure someone did a seminar. Or maybe it was just Andrew teaching it. I can't remember. But
It's kind of a sneaky move.
it is.
Like,
It is.
it's not like a choke. A choke everyone taps to.
I think,
everyone done. Brato Plata is like a shoulder injurer.
Yeah. I think AJ uses it over in Orange.
Okay.
AJ Friedman. I'm pretty sure that he had re-showed me it one time off of one of my moves, and he was like, "Why don't you go to the Barata?" You know, I'm pretty sure. So I know a couple guys do use it though.
It's a good move, man.
Yeah.
A lot of good shit. And then, man, that was like, so those are my first two gyms. I've been at two other ones since then. I moved back from Asia, I moved to San Diego, started training with Rodrigo Medeiros, who was like, that has to be the coolest gym I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first ones. It's still in PB. They still have the shit blue mats. Like when they first got there, the shit blue mats Carlson trained on. When Vitor moved to America, he trained there.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Medeiros, he's got no more room for stripes on his black belt, and he's not that old, man. He's like 45.
Yeah.
And so it's just it blows my mind, like looking at his belt, like trying to do the math, because each stripe on a black belt is just years.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only way you can measure it. And so you're counting like. So you've been a black belt longer than I've been alive, and active, like
Doing jiu-jitsu since he was 2.
basically. Yeah, you met Carlson Grayson when he was 12, and then just moved in with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so you were training at De La O. That's when you met Casey and Ron, and you're still with these guys. What's up with them? You like them?
Just
they're cool?
Just a little bit. Yeah. So let's see. So yeah, 16. You know, I guess we could go into how I got into there, how
Please.
I walked into there. You know, so I used to work at a place called Chain Reaction. It's an all-ages venue, kind of popular.
I've been to
for
this
kids.
place.
Yeah.
My buddy's bands play all the time.
Yeah, a lot of people's bands start out there. A lot of big bands.
Portugal the Man like still credits it as a huge place for them.
Yeah, a lot of bands that are huge now start off there.
Cool.
They even come back and do secret shows, you know. Yellow Card and all these big bands now, they all started there. Very personal, up and close place, you know. But that was my first job, was there. I was 16 years old.
It's an awesome place to work.
The way I got in there was my good friend Steve Bach, who was a punk rocker too, you know, and we got into I had met him at Knott's Berry Farm. I used to hang out like at 13, 14, 15. You know, I used to hang out at Knott's Berry Farm, and I lived down the street from there. So did he. So yeah, we used to go. I used to go. That's how I met him. I met him at Knott's, and you know, we did punk rock things together for a couple years. And then he had already been working there. He's like 2 years older than me, and he was the head security. And he's like barely 18. He's the head of security, you know. And he got me a job there. And he had started training with Delo. He found Delo. I don't remember exactly how, but Delo Jiu-Jitsu back then was down the street basically from Chain Reaction. So so he told me, come check this out. Walked into Delo O's, and you know, I was a tough kid, you know, and I had a lot of fights. But when I walked in there, you know, I just got spanked, you know, and I didn't know anything. Right? And I mean,
what was going on at Delo's back then? It was gi classes, or
yeah, so
they
it's
did
like,
MMA.
Yeah, so Delo O is very old school, very you know, he's a true like veteran of the sport. You know, I mean, he was fighting back when it was 3-4 fights a night. You know, no gloves.
He himself had 3 or 4 fights in a night?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you mean?
Yeah. He himself, yeah.
Same night?
Yeah, same night. 3-4 fights.
Okay.
You know, like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, he was, that's how it started, you know. It was just tournaments, and you'd keep fighting. And there was no gloves, headbutts, nut shots, all that. I mean, that was where he came from. You know, he was very, you know, jiu-jitsu, MMA based, right? Like it's very for self-defense, 100%. It's very, like the jiu-jitsu, it's very traditional, you would say. But like the class would start, like the first 30 minutes, you would do pad work. You know, you'd be striking.
Interesting.
You know, so it's like an MMA school, basically.
Cool.
You would do striking for the 30 minutes, and then you would go over some jiu-jitsu technique, you know, for another 30 minutes or 45 minutes. You would drill, and then you would roll with gloves on with strikes.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was
in a gi or no?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, you would have to wear, so it was kind of like Sambo style. You didn't have to, you didn't always have, in the daytime you didn't have to wear gi. At nighttime you had to wear gi, but you didn't have to wear gi pants.
Okay.
So it was just gi top.
Jacket and a belt.
Yeah, it was just gi top. And, you know, for me, I was fighting, you know, and I never wanted to wear it because I was fighting. And I was like, I'd be training, getting ready for fights, and I'm 2-3 weeks out. I'm like, why? I'm not fighting in this thing, you know, in this gi, right? Like, why do I have to wear this right now? And I would take it off, and, you know, sometimes you'd yell at me for it, you know.
Yeah. And do you still feel that way? Like, if you had a fight coming up soon?
Yeah,
do you see advantage to a gi or no?
No, not really. I mean, the only thing that I would say is your escapes get better.
Definitely.
You know? If you're really good at escaping omoplatas and arm blocks in the gi, you're going to be way more. But you're going to be way
definitely without that traction.
Efficient, yeah. Without the gi, with just bare skin, you know. So definitely, I see that advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could get reliant on grabbing and everything else, and it's just different, you know. You're getting punches thrown at you. I mean, even the jiu-jitsu game right now is still a little. I mean, we're seeing it with the combat jiu-jitsu now, like what is going to work and what isn't, you know. I think you could probably make almost anything work if you drill it enough.
Yeah.
You know, with striking.
I thought that for a long time.
Yeah, with striking, like the leg locks and all that. Like I think that can work with the striking.
Yeah.
You just better drill it.
You have to be really good.
You better have someone trying to punch you, you know, and just see what works and what doesn't, how quick you need to move and transition, you know. So, but yeah, so that's how I found Dela O, was through Steve, my good friend Steve, who's passed away now. He's the guy who did this, or I was his lab rat. He did all these tattoos on my leg. So through Chain Reaction, and then I met Ron right away because he was already there. I met Casey maybe shortly later.
Well, what was Ron doing right then? He's upper belt?
Yeah, I think he probably was a purple belt at the time.
Belt.
Maybe brown. Brown. Yeah, purple or brown. And Ron was thick. You know, he was muscle bound. You know, he was lifting heavy weights a lot. You know, he was like 205 at least or more.
Do you have any hair?
No.
No hair?
No. But I've heard of this gorgeous hair.
Really?
Yeah, he used
tails?
he used to say he had long metal hair. And I never got to see it. But yeah, and then I met Casey shortly after that, and yeah, that was my team, and Ron and Casey, have always kind of been, my mentors in a way, right? I mean, when I was coming up, I mean, they definitely guided me through a lot and helped me out with jiu-jitsu a lot. I mean, at 9 months of jiu-jitsu, I almost quit, when I was 9 months in. I remember actually, this is why I tell people, you got to stick with it, because anything that you want is super hard. Like anything that you want to be good at is hard. You want to play chess, it's hard. You want to get good at whatever, skydiving.
Good tea. You want to make good tea?
Brewing a good tea. There's an
art to it.
brew
a lot of fucking tea, man.
Yeah, brewing good coffee too. There's an art to it, right? And it just takes time. And anyway, so I was 9 months in. I remember the day. I was driving to practice, and I told him, I'm done. This is my last day. I suck. I wasn't getting any taps. I was getting fucked up every day. And that was when you'd get fucked up. You're
going
punched.
hard on you.
Oh yeah, you're getting punched. You're getting thrown around.
Getting punched every day. Like
pretty much.
There wasn't a day where it was like.
Yeah, there were some days where you probably just rolled at nighttime really.
Okay.
In the daytime, it was like MMA based, 100%.
Jeez.
At night, it was more jiu-jitsu. But at night, at the daytime, and I was mainly a day guy.
You knocked out in practice?
No, I've never been knocked out. I've been knocked out once in my life.
You've still never been knocked out?
Yeah, I've still never been knocked out, except once in my life, and it wasn't fully, but from a car accident.
Oh, wow.
But I think it actually knocked the wind out of me, and that's where I kind of felt like I was knocked out. But I don't think I went fully lights out in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never been knocked out. I got a hard head.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I've had my jaw broken, but that's another story. So I'm going to practice. 9 months in, I have not got one submission, not one tap. Getting my ass kicked every day.
No one new came in that time?
No.
Is that
not a lot of, it wasn't a big, jiu-jitsu, people weren't seeking it so much back then.
But wasn't as trendy.
No, nowadays it's huge and it's beautiful. It's awesome, and I think Joe Rogan partially because of that. Massive. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I definitely. Like Joe Rogan should get a check from us every month. So we're driving there, and I go to practice, and I just have this attitude of like, I don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter today, because today is my last day. I don't care about anything. I don't have insecurity. I don't have fear. Nothing's going on in my head. It doesn't matter, because today's my last day. And I get in there, and I roll, and I got my first tap against a good blue belt. That day I got my first tap. And then I got another tap right after that against another good guy that I could never tap out. Yeah, and I thought about that moment many times over the last couple of years, and what it was that I stopped caring. I just did jiu-jitsu. I stopped having my insecurities come in, am I good enough, the fears, all of that inner critic bullshit that we live with every day. That day, I just didn't care, and I just did jiu-jitsu, and I got a tap. And that was just, and then my game ever since then just skyrocketed. Right, like all the moves started to make sense.
So that was enough for you to stick around?
That was enough for me to stick around.
Okay.
That was going to be my last day, and I like I said, I decided 100%. I didn't even care, and I was going to talk to coach after and everything, and but then all of a sudden I'm hitting triangles to omoplatas and arm locks to triangles, and they're all starting to make sense now.
All the bullshit's real.
All the chains are starting to make sense, and I fell in love. I fell in love. But like I said back then, like we were training to beat ass. We were training to fight. We were training for self-defense, for the streets. That was a lot of the training back then. Any gym really you would go to back then, a lot of it was like the traditional Gracie style, like we're training for self-defense. Nowadays, it's so specialized.
Yeah.
You know, so it's totally different.
It's
know?
like the philosophy that got me into jiu-jitsu, and I try to hold on to this, but 10 Planet has fucked this up for me. The idea that got me into jiu-jitsu is that you could beat your opponent without hurting them.
Yeah.
And so you can, it's possible.
Yeah.
But then there's Casey Halstead being like, no, man, just smash him. And he has great points.
Yeah.
And he's improved my game a lot in that way.
Sure, of course.
But, yeah, it's just, there's so many different ways to get into it.
Yeah, there is. And so, like, nowadays, so, like, you know, so I was 16, I'm 31 now, so that means I've been training for about 16 years.
Wow.
But after I had my son, when I was 22, I dropped off for about 2 years, basically.
Wow.
This was also the time when Casey and Ron and Delo had a falling out. And this was also the time that I moved in with Casey. At, like, when I got my chick pregnant, basically, like, you know, my lady Nicole, I got her pregnant, and I was about to be 22, whatever, 21. We moved in with Casey. So I moved. I was living in my mom's garage, getting bit by spiders and shit every day, you know. And I had moved from my mom's garage to Casey's house in the room where Ghetto Joe used to live in. Yeah, and so you know, Casey knew this was a very scary, important time in my life. You know, I'm about to become a father.
Terrifying.
You know, terrifying, and yeah, so. He gave me a lot of great fatherly advice because, I mean, Casey, he's an amazing coach. You know, he's a great person, but he's an amazing father. You know, I mean, he did what most men would never do, right? He took full custody of his daughter. You know, he told his ex, "I'm taking Abigail." You know, and she didn't stop him, and he took full custody, and he struggled for many years trying to figure it out, you know, but he never stopped, and he never stopped loving her, and he never stopped trying to teach her, and I was there early on, you know. Abigail was 4, you know, so I was living with him while a lot of this was going on, and to watch him and his growth, to see what he is now, it's been a huge influence on me, because I got to see, because I never had a father, right? So I becoming a father when you don't have a father, you have no example, you know. So it's so hard, and it's probably better because my father wasn't the best person. So if I would have had a bad example, you know, then it would have, you know, messed me up more. But I had no example really. So Casey was kind of the example of, you know, a lot of what to do as a father, you know. So that helped me out a lot, you know. And Casey actually took Nicole. I was working at Sharky's, and my lady's water broke. Casey took her to the hospital. Wow. Yeah, her water broke in their bathroom, and he took her to the hospital and everything, you know. So yeah, you know, and you know, and all those fears and everything, like being around a person like Casey during those times, you know, really influenced me and got me, gave me a lot of strength, you know, and he had a, you know, he's a great motivationer now.
Incredible.
Right? But
Incredible.
But back then, he's still pretty good too.
Yeah.
He's just, you know, the thing about teachers, right? Like, we all seek teachers that have walked the path. You know, that's what we hope. We don't really think of it that way, maybe, you know, but there are a lot of bad teachers out there that are all talk, very egotistical. They lead with their ego, you know, and then they don't practice what they preach.
It's the easiest time ever to get famous for that.
Yeah.
You'd be an Instagram motivational coach.
Exactly.
Easily.
Exactly. And you know, I watched Casey in his evolution, you know, of who he is now. So I've watched him walk the path. So that has helped me be able to walk that path. You know, you need a teacher, you need a coach who has walked the path.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's empty. You know, and yeah, and he's always been super honest with me about everything. You know, 100%. He has a different way of dealing with me than with other people, because I don't get butthurt. You know, I mean, I may, but I don't show it. You know, and I take it as like like he's pushing me,
Yeah.
like because he's been pretty hard on me too, in a very blunt way, like you're fucking up, like you're not doing this good, and this and that, and that's always pushed me.
I always get nervous around Casey because I'm afraid he's about to do that to me. And like I kind of want it, like I know it'd be beneficial.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah, and that's the thing about coaching, right? And that's the thing
Yeah.
about like you got to meet people where they're at and how they're willing to learn.
Yeah.
And Casey has always been able to do that to me because he knows I could handle it, right? But other people you can't do that to.
He's always been very nice and
Yeah.
very like gentle around me.
Yeah. Other
Yeah.
people you can't. So that's
Yeah.
like a very important thing about coaching, is like we got to meet, we got to meet somewhere. I can't give you the full pie.
Yeah.
And try to get you to change your life all at once and tell you everything that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
A lot of people don't want that.
No, you can't.
don't want
I
that.
didn't want that.
Yeah.
So it's bit by bit, layer by layer, and jiu-jitsu is always our anchor.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is always the thing that brought us together. So we always bring it back to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is our meditation. And that has been, that's always been the thing that's kept all of us together. Is jiu-jitsu, me, Ron, and Casey, right? So
It's beautiful.
yeah, so I kind of skipped along, but 22, I told you I dropped off,
Yeah.
right? And part of why I dropped off is because I lost the passion. I lost the passion because, where I came from, the school where I came from, I was learning a lot of the same things over and over again. I wasn't allowed to cross train. Like I had to hide. Like I was training for
What
fights.
do you mean? Like if you wanted to go somewhere else, what
Was
would
it-
happen?
You would just get a lot of shit talking,
Okay.
So I mean, I wanted to work on my wrestling. We had a couple of decent wrestlers there, but it's not college level wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was always good friends with Emmanuel Newton. I've known Emmanuel Newton since we were like 16, and he's a pretty good wrestler, and he wrestled at Cerritos College. So I always wanted to go in and work with them, and I asked him one time, can I do it? And he was like, nah, just basically no,
Really?
Yeah, so I went
What,
behind.
what do you make of that? Is that insecurity in himself? Is that
absolutely,
what it is?
Absolutely.
Scared if you go somewhere else and never come back?
Absolutely, and insecurity and fear and like you not being good enough for that person, and like, look, I can't teach you everything. I cannot teach you everything. I can teach you only what I know, and that's it. Please go get information from somewhere else and teach me.
Yeah.
But that's not how it was. So I had to go behind his back during fight camps and go into the wrestling room at Cerritos. I would do that like 2 or 3 times a week.
Did you get
and
guilt for that?
Oh, he didn't know when. A little bit, yeah. But I was coming back and I'm out wrestling everybody. I'm throwing everybody on their heads. It's like it worked. And I wasn't gonna go anywhere. I just wanted to get better wrestling.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I did this. And so that was like towards the end of my fight career, and I was always learning the same stuff over and over, and it was never, it was never really pushing me, and expanding my jiu-jitsu. So
And you're making a living at Sharky's?
So yeah, during this time
Bartending?
I was just a security guard. I was doing what you did,
just like me.
just like you. I was
That's
a door.
where I
I
am.
was the head door guy pretty much.
Okay.
Back then you'd get away with anything.
No cameras.
No cameras. People weren't suing left and right. So if someone tested me back then, they got dealt with. It was a lot of my ego was coming out back then. It's a young, hungry fighter. But we'll get to the stories probably in a little bit. But let me finish the why I stopped jiu-jitsu. Right. So that was my way. So Casey had gone, Ron had gone, I had my kid, and I had lost the passion, and I knew that I had to focus on my family and get used to having a baby around.
Yeah.
And, all that changed.
Massive transition, I'm sure.
And also I had went to my boss at the time at Sharky's, and I said, look, I got to make more money. Can I move up? And he's like, okay, yeah. So he put me on the floor. Right? So I started doing the floor at that time, and I was a floor guy, running, what the floor guy does.
Cleaning the floor.
Yeah. In case people don't, running food and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Mopping up.
Yeah, like clean up, throw up, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And it pays pretty good, and I moved up right away. I was really good at my job. We judged the floor guys by 1, 2, and 3, that's what they get hourly by tips. So a 1 gets $10 an hour, a 2 gets $15 an hour in tips plus your minimum wage, and then a 3 gets 20. I moved up to a 3 like in like a month. I was already making 20 an hour plus my minimum wage, and that was enough to support my family.
Yeah.
And you know, so that was my way out of jiu-jitsu for a little while. Now I would go back to De La O's maybe like once a week. I mean, once a month. I would drop in, you know, get a roll or two. I was fat, out of shape, you know, and just like I would go back. Oh, you know. And
Were you ever much into like exercising outside of MMA? Like, did you ever like surfing or?
I did surf.
Running a lot?
Yeah, I surfed from 13 to 18. I gave up surfing for fighting.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to surf all the time. I mean, I used to ride ride the bus up beach when I was 12, 13 years old with my board and go surf.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and then fuck around the beach for hours and then come back.
But around this time when you're not training, you're just getting fat.
I'm just getting fat.
Drinking a lot too?
Yeah, you know, I definitely probably
at the
started.
bar, it's an option.
Yeah, it's a bar scene, you know, and I definitely probably started drinking a little more. Definitely, yeah. Because when I was fighting, I was focused. The moment I took a fight, I didn't drink.
Oh.
The moment coach said, hey, you got to fight. No, there was no drinking. And even before that, during that from 18 to 22, I had partied so hard and drank so much, and I had a fake ID at 16. You know, like I was already pretty much over it. I was focused on fighting. I was disciplined. You know, so I didn't really drink much in between anyways. I mean, I would here and there, but so by the time I turned 21, I was a door guy at Sharky's. I was training for a fight during that time in January, and I didn't even drink on my 21st birthday, and I didn't feel the need to.
Good.
You know, yeah, I was super disciplined with my fighting. I didn't fuck around.
I always think that's like an amateur night. If you hear someone like, it's my 21st, so I'm going out,
Yeah.
it's like, that's going to be terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's not going to end well.
But see, that's the sacrifice that these guys don't see.
Yeah.
You know, in fighting. Like a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that do it right. But, like, you know, fighting, if you want to be good at it, you know, you got to give up a lot. Even jiu-jitsu. If you want to be really good at jiu-jitsu, you got to give up a lot.
And so that's the exact reason why I don't think I'll ever be good at jiu-jitsu.
You are good at jiu-jitsu, though. You are good.
But I'm not going to win any gold medals. I'm
That's
not
bullshit. You're not
going
gonna
to be
win-
a world champion.
You're not going to win any gold medals, and you're not going to be a world champion because you're saying that. Simple as
Exactly.
that. Because you're saying that. Once you change that mindset, you're pretty
It's
disciplined.
like, what, I
You're
got to
not-
lift weights? Ugh. I gotta do steroids? Fuck, man. I don't have time to be doing steroids, alright?
Yeah.
I gotta meditate. I have a journal I ignore. I have books to read.
Yeah, but so I definitely I was very focused and all that. So yeah, that was my way out. 22. That's how I stopped kind of going to De La. So
Found
for the
salvation through Sharky's. Quit all that martial arts bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, at that time, and then I started bartending maybe like 9 months in, like after I had my son. So I started bartending, and then that's where I started drinking probably a little more.
Yeah.
But
That's making a lot of money, right?
yeah, I was making, you know, definitely by the time I started like getting the night shifts and everything, I mean, you're making $300-400 a night.
Oh, wow.
You know, at that time it was huge. That time the money was way better because the housing market didn't fully crash yet. You know, so all those high rollers, you know, with
The clientele had
the
more money.
clientele, the people doing all the shady house deals, right?
Yeah.
They would come to the front. I was in the door too, like during that transition. They would come and just hand you $100, get my crew in. But like 10 of those people would do that, so you would have $1,000 by the end of the night. Like they were just throwing money around. So the tips were way better back then.
Wow.
It was different, and then they all got arrested, and all that went away. Yeah, but so 2 years of no training, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So really, I've been training for 14 years. And then Casey calls me up one day, and they had started Subtech MMA. It was a little tiny little square mat inside of War Dance, right by the airport, and they had a couple guys. They had maybe 8-10 guys.
Anyone who's still around?
Huh?
Anyone who's like still around?
Yeah.
that I
Sun
would know?
Yu.
Sun Yu was there?
Sun Yu, Huicho, who else? Sun Yu, Huicho, Anthony Lopez. He's not really around right now, but you know he was maybe a year ago he was around. Who else? There's a couple of them. I know I'm missing some people for sure. Ricky Torres, Big Ricky.
Not familiar.
Yeah, he's just started coming around again.
Cool.
So a couple guys, Izzy, still around, but Casey called me up, come check out this 10 Planet stuff, and we've been training with Eddie Bravo and this and that, and I had heard, about Eddie Bravo, of course, but, it was very shunned upon.
Right. Yeah, what was the reputation back then?
It was he's just a stoner, like weirdo that doesn't know shit about jiu-jitsu, and and none of his shit works, And it's funny because I remember when I was training in the middle of like fight camp, this Eddie Bravo, like maybe blue belt, maybe he was a purple belt, came into our gym one day. This Asian guy, and he was wearing tights. He was wearing spats. But back then, nobody wore spats.
Fucking faggot and spats.
That's exactly what was going on. Like nobody wore spats back then. So immediately he called him Peter Pan.
Yeah.
But this guy was fucking good, and he fucked us up. He was doing all the shit that we'd never seen before and catching us.
Rubber guard?
We had seen a little bit of rubber guard because of Ron. Ron was already mastering the rubber guard, and he would teach it like behind, coach's back and everything. And by the way, you couldn't call him coach. I just say coach because I'm used to it, but you weren't allowed to call him coach.
What'd you have to call him?
John or sensei, or
sensei.
But when you call him coach, he would yell at you and say, "Do I have a fucking clipboard and a whistle?" Yeah. So, so Ron would show some rubber guard every now and then when Coach wasn't around. So, but yeah, this guy came in and fucked us all up. Like tapped us and everything, and and John was so mad, and it's like, dude, he's doing all this stuff we never seen before, And
shit still doesn't work.
And he was from 10 Planet. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it still doesn't work, right? So I took a trip to HQ one day, and I was a purple belt at the time. Yeah. And I got fucked up. Like they were doing shit that I've never, and I was way out of shape, but they were doing shit. I was getting fucked up by blue belts, and they were doing all these things I've never seen before. And the first thing that I saw that Eddie showed was the samurai roll. And I fell in love with that. I was like mind blown. Like, what? You do what? You take his back from here? What?
So that's one of the moves I learned in Taiwan.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was shown to me in the gi from Masato Ogasawara.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool that they're...
It's a beautiful move.
Yeah, it's a beautiful move. And so samurai roll was my shit for years. Nowadays, it's so hard to get.
Yeah,
nowadays,
people see it coming.
Yeah. I see a couple people still pulling it off pretty good, but... Nowadays, it's you gotta go 100% on it, or you're not gonna get it.
The best way to set up a samurai roll, and probably anything, is for people listening. Rape choke.
Rape choke.
Rape choke a dude, and whatever you do next is gonna work way better.
Right. They're like, I can't believe he's rape choking.
Flare his ego up a little bit, like what the? Oh, he got my back.
Yeah, definitely would upset a lot of people.
I was thinking it's like the equivalent of like, ninjas, they always have like a handful of dust and they spray it in your eyes and then they steal your shit or whatever. That's what a rape choke is. I'm just gonna blow some shit in your eyes. Yeah. It's not gonna hurt you. Yeah. I'm not gonna finish it.
You gotta really hate a person to do that to them. Yeah. But so that was like my start. Like I went back and started training with Casey and Ron all the time, and they were showing a lot of 10 Planet stuff, and it was just mind blowing to me. And then at the time, they had a lot of guys that wanted to fight, so I started running the MMA. I started teaching the MMA, and I started getting the passion again. That's where the passion came back.
The bug.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to fight again. So I started training for fight. I started training for getting back in shape, thinking I'm going to fight. I'm going to pick up a fight in the next 3 months. I'm going to have 1 month to get in shape, 2 months of training camp, around there. I needed probably 2 months at the time because I'd been out for so long.
Yeah.
So 1 month was just losing the weight, and I started losing all the weight, and I'm doing great, and I get in a bad car accident.
Ooh.
Yeah, I get in a bad car accident, and it really fucked me up. Nothing fully broke, But we got hit by a drunk driver. And I mean, I remember, we're driving on the 55 in Dyer, and it came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, I was behind the driver's seat. All of a sudden, the car is in my lap. Like, he just comes out of the carpool and just out of nowhere, just boom, hits me right on my door. And I just see a car on my lap, basically. And I'm like, what the fuck? And everything was just so slow motion. Like, we're spinning and spinning, and I grabbed the oh shit handle,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, as I'm spinning, like, just relax. Drunks always survive accidents. Relax. Like, you always hear that. I would literally thought that in my head. Like, just relax and go with the impact, because I knew we were going to hit something eventually.
Yeah.
And we ended up hitting, boom, a barricade wall. And that's where, like, everything collapsed in, and I think the door knocked all the wind out of me, and I felt knocked out, and I was hunched over, wheezing, and I ended up, my body has never been the same since. It's just been injury after injury after
Really?
that. Yeah, it's never been the same since. I had no injuries before that, and it's just been like, it's just like it.
So right now you can still feel this? Still feel the car accident?
I mean, we could say that a lot of these knee injuries and all this stuff that I've gone through over the last years, maybe the accident helped loosen it all up.
Okay, yeah.
I can't say that it wasn't going to happen, because I had very poor structure. I mean, I stood like a duck. I slouched a lot.
Not doing a lot of yoga back then.
Definitely not. Not even stretching. None of that. Because that's, like, back then too. That was all kind of looked down upon where I came from. Like, it wasn't
Fucking
like
Peter Pan stretching over there.
Yeah. It wasn't really like a thing. So, anyway, I ended up getting a cracked vertebrae and a slip disc in the lower back. That was the major injuries.
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital for a day or two, and Casey came with Charmaine and this was like a week before Christmas too, and Casey came with Charmaine, took care of the kids, and all that, and but it was a blessing in disguise. It was because at that time in my life I was drinking a lot at the bar. Because as a bartender, and I was a manager at the time already. It goes with the territory. You kind of just drink to be on the same level as everybody else.
Yeah.
And that I fell into that pattern. I was drinking almost every shift. I would start at 8 o'clock. I would take like 2-3 shots of Jameson, or 4 maybe, like almost back to back, or within that hour. Catch a good buzz for the rest of the shift, right? And then I wouldn't drive home till 4 in the morning, so I would sober up. By the end of the night, I was already
That's
sober.
probably pretty common. I imagine most people in that position are doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it's. I was doing it at a minor.
Yeah.
Like I still like had a voice of reason.
Yeah.
Like I was only doing it at work. And where a lot of other people were doing it every day outside work. And so so I was doing that. Pretty much for like a whole year. Pretty much a whole year, and and that accident came. But I also had a lot of mental issues, like just at that time of my life. When I think about it, man, I was like super, probably depressed, and just like I wasn't being a good father. I probably wasn't being a good parent, partner to my lady, and I just wasn't in the right place, like the accident came, and it was I believe that was the way the universe said, hey, motherfucker, wake up, wake up.
Big slap from God.
Everything could get taken just like that, and wake up. And I believe that's I got a calling from the universe, and I answered the call, and from then on, like, I really focused on change, and focused on healing, and why was I having to drink all the time, and why, I had these moods of depression, and why can't I be present with my kids, and by that time I already had my daughter, so I had 2 kids by then.
And so you knew that you were not being present.
Oh.
So that's kind of a weird thought to have.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I wasn't being the best father that I could be. I knew that I was definitely not, I would go to the park with my kids, and it was like I wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was just like I was there, but I wasn't there.
This is before cell phones, right?
No. Cell phones were out by
Cell
then.
phones are like, I mean,
Yeah.
where everyone has them.
Yeah, everyone had them by then.
Because
yeah.
when you talk about like being someplace and not knowing it, what I picture is people on their phones.
Yeah.
The other day at Sharky's, people are there like they're on dates or they're with their friends,
And they're all
on their phones.
Yeah. And I was pretty good about that.
Okay.
Right, like not being on the phone all the time in front of my kids.
That's the easiest way to get out of the present moment.
But it was, I would try to be there and play, and it was like unenjoyable. Like I wasn't, I don't know. It was just something was missing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so that was like, car accident happened. I'm pretty fucked up. And it gave me this like shit, this awareness, like everything could get taken from you, just like that. Like wake up and be present. So that kind of started my life of getting better. Getting well mentally, physically, emotionally. But that also started my career of injuries, right? So like I fell in love with jiu-jitsu at the time, and my jiu-jitsu was getting so much better, and I'm on the mats almost every day, and then that accident happens, and then so I'm off the mats now for 6 months, rehabilitating my lower back. I ended up being super focused and getting rehabilitating it back, where I don't have a problem with my lower back now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I started training again, probably, and teaching them. So at that time, just before that accident, that's when we opened up 10 Planet Costa Mesa.
Just before the accident?
Yeah, before the accident.
You just opened.
No. Maybe it was right after the accident. I can't remember. I got to think of the year. So we've been open for 5 years. That accident was 2011.
Okay.
So it was right around that same time.
That makes sense, yeah.
Right around that same time. And then when I got back into training, I started teaching MMA at Costa Mesa. And getting back into the flow of things. And rolling every day and, doing that. And then the injuries started to happen like a year later. Like one knee tore. I tore my left ACL, my right ACL. Then I tore my left ACL, then I tore my meniscus, and then the shoulder and the neck, and everything started to pile on. But during all these injuries, I'm still trying to get in rolls. I'm still like adjusting. I'm still just like, fuck it, I'm gonna still roll. I love
and
jiu-jitsu.
Still on your feet all night.
And still working at the bar full time. 6 days a week, 7 days a week sometimes. And it's late hours and
that's brutal on the body.
Brutal. And so yeah, I mean, and then but all these injuries, allowed me to look at myself and look at my body and, like, I gotta fix myself. I gotta fix what's going on with my body. So I started studying a lot of anatomy and, all the myofascia releasing and a lot of mobility and, and I started to rehabilitate myself, and I was able to rehabilitate both my ACLs without surgery.
Oh, wow.
I did PRP and I did a lot of rehab and some stem cell, and both my ACLs got connection back. But the meniscus was shitty, so I had that surgery, a couple months ago. But I basically, over the last 4 years, I've just been rolling and everything with a fully torn meniscus, or a medial meniscus tear, bucket tear, and and the ACLs and everything, and But I still was teaching the whole time, and then the money came from the accident because I got a settlement from the insurance. And that's the money that we opened up Buena Park with and bought me into the business. Yeah. So, and at the time I was, like...
It's a good move.
I was, I didn't have much money, and that money came, and then Casey was like, hey, let's open up 10 Planet Buena Park.
So that's the second one.
That's the second one. And that's how I bought into the business, because I wasn't a partnership yet.
Yeah.
So I bought in, I put all my money down, all my money into it, everything that I had. I put all my money in to buy into the business. Best move of my life. And it was very important to me to have 10 Planet Buena Park because I grew up in Buena Park.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was pretty important, and that started, everything with me getting into the whole corporation, and like I didn't know shit, about business. I'm still learning a lot, and at the time Casey didn't know much either, like he was learning everything too as we went, And at the time, I bought in, and you know, he was requiring a lot more of me all of a sudden, and you know, and telling me to promote and this and that. And, you know, I knew how, I just didn't like have the drive to.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily Sharky's, man, with Sharky's, like, I did learn sales, and I did learn how to promote. Like, I used to have my own night, and I took it from, you know, $800-900 Monday nights. I used to take it to $3,000-4,000, you know, on a Monday night. You know, so I got good at sales. I got good at promoting. But the problem with that is that I didn't believe in that. You know, I believe in jiu-jitsu. You know, so once I saw that selling jiu-jitsu is way easier because I love it. You know?
You see it benefiting people.
Exactly. It took me like a couple months to understand that, and I would watch Casey and how he sells people, you know, and you know, everyone has like this blockage with sales, you know, like, oh, I feel like a shady, you know, salesman. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, if you're selling something you love, why is it shady?
Yeah.
I'm selling something. I want to try to help you change your life through jiu-jitsu. You know, that's what I want. I'm not fully telling you that, but that's what I want inside. You know, I'm not telling them, I'm going to change your life for jiu-jitsu. You know, I'm not telling them that.
That's a hard sell.
That is a hard sell. But I know that these people are coming to jiu-jitsu. A lot of people are coming to jiu-jitsu because they're seeking to get out of the bar life.
Yeah.
Where I work at. You know, and they're so people come to jiu-jitsu because, one, you know, they hear it on something, a light bulb goes off, and they're trying to do something for themselves. Because, you know, we all fall into that trap of doing things for other people, and, you know, we get into college and do the whole degree thing, and most of the time it's not something you don't want.
That was me, man.
Yeah,
I got my accounting degree.
Yeah, and
look at me sitting here in the backyard on a Wednesday.
And why did you do it?
What is this?
Why did you go to college to get the accounting degree?
I don't know. I was young. And
was it important to your parents?
Very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, it, was,
right?
it wasn't even questioned.
Yeah, so that's like that's part of the trap, you know, is we feel like we have to go to college and do. And I mean, it starts at a young age. They're like, and you might have heard me explain this before, and this is just how I see it, and being in the bar business and stuff. You know, it starts at a young age. You're tippy-toeing around your parents, trying to make them happy.
Yeah.
You know, and like, can't piss mom off, can't do this because she'll yell at me, and can't do this to dad because he's gonna beat me, or whatever it may be, right? Like, so you tippy-toe around them, then you're tippy-toeing around your teachers at school and your friends and the principal, and then you get a job, and then you got to make a boss happy, and then you graduate high school, and you got to make mom, like, because to our parent, to that generation of our parents is success. Like, you're a successful parent if your kids went to college and graduated. That equals success to your parents. You know, not what's going on inside.
Right.
You know, and how they are, you know, in humanity, like what service they're doing for humanity or anything else. It's, did my son, I got a college graduate son. I'm a successful parent. You know, I did it right. You know, but so we go to college, and, you know, you just get a whatever degree just because you need to get something. You start off with maybe communications, you know, and then maybe you change and go to accountant, you know, and then if you're lucky, it's something you do love to do.
I had to go into my counselor and switch from philosophy to accounting.
Yeah.
And it was purely just my dad's influence.
Yeah, and, you know,
nonverbal too. Like, he didn't tell me.
I think philosophy would have suited you way better.
Yeah, I mean,
it's suiting you now.
You can see. Even I haven't looked at anything I wrote down for you, but I did bring you some stuff. And it's 2 philosophy things.
Oh, cool.
This is actually a gift for you.
Oh, beautiful.
This is Marcus Aurelius' Meditations.
Yeah. I've never read it.
With this?
No, I have seen this. Yeah, but I'm not.
So
Beautiful.
It's a great book because you can literally open it to the middle and just pick a sentence, and it will blow your mind. And they're usually numbered. You flip to the one page where it's not.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, man, when I was at my best, back in my prime, I would wake up and read one of these passages, and I'd write it out, and then I'd just fill out the rest of the page with whatever it made me think of. Because it's Stoicism, so it's all just like just don't take anything personally is
Yeah.
like the big thing.
Yeah, I love that.
People are shit for their own reasons.
Yep.
It's not about you.
That's my number one teaching to my kids.
Yeah.
Do not take anything personal.
Nothing's personally.
Yeah.
You know the hardest one that, because I haven't even explained it on this podcast that I work at Sharky's and I've been there for a couple
Oh,
months.
you haven't? Yeah.
And I haven't even talked about it at all. And so, but one of the big things I've learned about not taking things personally is girls coming up to me and hitting on me is not personal.
Yeah.
There's no compliment there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just them. Like, that's them being insecure and drunk, and
It doesn't feed anything in you?
I mean, it stirs up a lot, obviously.
Yeah,
It has to. It has to.
Yeah. It gives you tickly feelings in certain areas.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
'Cause I never imagined that, like...
Burned by the sun.
I have a nice thick layer of sweat protecting me.
Sweating balls. We can take it inside if you want. There's nice air conditioning.
I kind of like it, man. It feels a little like we're earning this.
Yeah. Right? It feels like we're in Thailand or something. Yeah, we got a mantis and jungle back here.
Yeah. But yeah, not taking things personally, man, is huge.
Very important. You know?
Huge.
So I want to go back to finishing what about the trap.
Oh, please, yeah.
Right before I forget, because I was hot on that for a second.
Hey, you're deep in.
So you get that degree, right?
Yeah.
And in college, most people, what are you doing in college?
Drinking.
Fucking partying hard. You know, and a lot of people don't even start till college.
Yeah.
You know,
I started
at 11, but that's a whole nother topic, right? But a lot of people don't start till they get to college, and they learn how to drink. You know, they learn how to party. You know, and it's like college Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights. Once they turn 21, 22, it's brunch Sundays now. That's 4 days a week of drinking.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing that minimum. You're doing that for 2-3 years, and now Adderall's huge, so they add Adderall to study because they're all hungover.
Man, I fucking loved Adderall.
It works.
I always look forward to it. I'd always schedule it on like the last final.
Yeah.
I would just stay up all night. I'd take Adderall. I'd have a great time. I'd have a playlist ready.
Yeah, when I first started bartending, I would take Adderall. And I mean, I can remember 8-9 drink orders, with like 6 different drinks in each one.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, it works. But then I started not sleeping, getting headaches, and everything else started.
It's not sustainable at all.
There's no free ride, you know. There's no free ride. But so these guys, they become alcoholics basically in college. A lot of these people, so they graduate, right? They get their degree. You know, now mommy's happy, daddy's happy, success, pictures on Instagram, you know, graduated, right? And they go and they get their 9 to 5, you know, with that degree they got.
Their accounting job.
Yeah, they could get whatever they want, right? And so they go and they get their 9 to 5, and, you know, they're excited at first because they're getting a payday. And maybe it pays pretty good, you know, or whatever. But you got more money than you did in college.
Well,
you know?
infinitely more.
Yeah, of course.
Infinitely.
Of course.
Yeah, you're going from top ramen on your stove to you can go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And you can buy your friends a meal.
Exactly.
Oh,
but now,
shit. You can buy a girl a meal.
Right. You can go on a nice date, afford a movie ticket.
Massive.
But now there's other things you can afford. You can afford to drink a lot more.
Yep.
And you just spent 3-4 years, 4 days a week drinking.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
But all of a sudden you're more tired too.
Yeah.
Yeah, be up every morning.
You're getting older.
Still want to go out on Friday. You got
Yeah.
some extra money. You don't have a lot of energy.
Yep.
This dude's got a little cocaine.
Yep.
One time's not that bad.
One time's not that bad. And that's where it starts. 24, 25, in the bar scene, you start to see people pick up the cocaine after they graduated college and they have the money.
When it's harder to meet people, it's a little easier to get laid if you have cocaine. You can party if you got it.
Exactly. So
I've
that's
seen it, man.
That's the pattern. And you know, this isn't everybody, of course. This is, but I think it's a large percentage.
Yeah.
It's a very large percentage, and that's the trap. You know, and so then 24, 25, now you're doing blow. Not everybody, but maybe some people just will not do it. That's great, but they still drink a lot, you know, and happy hours and Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday brunch, right? 3-4 days a week still of drinking. And then you reach 29, 30, and the drinking's really hurting you now most of the time by then, right? You've got mean hangovers now. And, you know, people start to seek. You know, they start to like ask themselves, realize like, shit, this isn't really making me fully happy, but I can't get out of it because all my friends do it.
Right.
And you're not even doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your friends.
And your friends will bring you back in, not because they want you to do worse, but because they want to hang out.
And
it's like simple reasons.
And because, so like,
they like you.
So they come, so check it. So they come into jiu-jitsu. That person that I'm talking about realizes these things and they're seeking something. They've always had an interest in jiu-jitsu. They heard it on the Joe Rogan podcast, whatever it may be. So they come to the gym, right? And I know where they're coming from because I work there.
Yeah.
So I can't throw them this. I can't tell them everything I just told you.
Yeah.
But I know the path that they've walked because I've walked it. I've been there. Now it's time to show them the magic of jiu-jitsu and what it can do, right? And the culture that we've cultivated, in our gyms.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's like the most important thing. Like, this is a place to heal. This is a place to reach your fullest potential, and I need to show you that, but I can't give it to you all at once. And it takes dedication on your end.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some giving up some attachments on your end, and slowly we start chipping away at that. You start coming in 3-4 days a week. We start talking after we train. We start I can't stop spending money at the bar. I can't stop. That will come up.
Yep.
And like, why? Because all my friends do it. Well, tell your friends you're not going out. Then what did they do? They guilt you into going back. It's my birthday, bitch. Come on. Come on. You can do it just one time. You go out. You've been eating clean because you're doing jiu-jitsu. You go out and eat. Afterwards, you're all drunk. You don't want to eat the bun, right? Because you're on the diet. Then they talk shit on you because of that. Oh, you fat. You're taking off the bun. And
fucking vegetarian.
Yeah. It's just like, but see, all this, your new lifestyle and what you're trying to do and pull away is a threat to what they know right now.
Yeah.
It's a threat to what they know. So that's why they have to demonize it. And they have to talk shit. And this is where the scary moments are of you having to possibly let go of some friends if you want to pursue and get better at life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you can never party again. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you need to have a little more respect for yourself, for your body, and have an intention at least if you're going to go out and drink.
Yeah.
Don't just mindlessly go out and drink every weekend.
Yeah. One thing that I always think about is like I fell in with this like pretty nice like tea and meditation cult in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
A really smart guy is the head guy. And what he told me about drinking, he said alcohol's not necessarily bad, but drinking when you don't want to is the worst thing possible.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And looking at a beer being like,
said.
I don't really want this.
But you do it.
But you do it.
Yeah.
And I've been there many times. That's how I know.
Yeah, and I was there too.
Yeah.
We're drinking at the bar.
And it'll probably still happen to me sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, for me...
I turned down a lot of drinks at Sharky's, though, I will say.
Yeah. For me, I haven't drank, really. I mean, basically the only time I ever drink is with Casey.
Okay.
I have a couple beers with Casey, and that's about it, But, and it's not because I have a problem or I fear it. It's just because I literally just don't feel like fucking drinking.
Yeah.
But every now and then, I'll feel like drinking.
It's fun.
And then I'll have a couple of loose. But see, I don't want to get blacked out drunk where I don't know who I am.
That scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, and that takes, a lot of respect for yourself to not do that, like knowing your limit,
Yeah.
and I think jiu-jitsu helps you get that, And so like these guys that are getting into the jiu-jitsu world, after about 9, 10 months, 11 months of training, I see that they've been giving up a lot of this stuff. I introduce competition. Right? Hey, why don't you compete? Why don't you compete? Because competing will help you set more goals and also keep you away from that life too, because you can't go drinking when you're trying to compete.
You gotta be at practice in the morning.
You gotta be at practice in the morning. And competition really tests all your fears and inner critic and anxiety. It brings all those things out and it brings an awareness to them. And so the first time you compete, you're so fearful and you're so, like, I don't want to be. And what are we fearful of? When I competed, my biggest fear was embarrassment.
Yeah.
And I think that's almost everybody's biggest fear.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to get knocked out in the first 10 seconds when all my friends and family are here. Same thing with a jiu-jitsu competition. I don't want to get choked out in 20 seconds with a standing guillotine and be out cold and twitching on the floor. It's embarrassing. That's the fear.
Yep.
Right, and but that's also goes with like caring about what people think and everything else,
Yeah.
you know. And but I like to introduce competition. You don't have to be a fully you don't have to be a crazy competitor. I just think that everybody should try it at least once or twice, you know, just to feel that fear come up and that anxiety, because a lot of times you haven't felt that in years.
Yeah.
You haven't been challenging yourself.
Yeah.
College wasn't even a challenge for you. You just went through the motions, you know, and made mommy and daddy happy.
True.
You know, for 10, 12, 13 years, you know, you haven't felt alive, you know, when you haven't felt that fear, you know, and I think that fear is what drives us, right?
Visceral terror.
It is, and that's where I
Yeah.
am right now in my life, right? So
Yeah.
I'm leaving Sharky's, right? It's been 13 years I've been working there. I'm leaving on Monday's my last day, Labor Day. Yeah. And all these fears, all this anxiety,
Yeah.
all this like suffocation is coming up.
You're
And
molting.
I'm molting. Yeah. and it's all coming up, and it's like all these self-doubts are coming up, and
Yeah.
can I do this? Can I support my family? Can I feed my kids? You know, I'm letting go of like $5-6 grand a month, you know, cash, and it's so easy. That's part of the bartender trap.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
so easy.
It's so easy to make money, you know, especially you're 22, 23, you could drive Audis and BMWs and, you know, live on the beach and still have extra money. It's fabulous on the outside,
Yeah.
you know, but on the inside it's a trap, you know, and but so yeah, I'm those fears of what I had for competition or anything else are starting to come up now, you know, in my life, where, you know, am I good enough? Can I do this? You know, are my kids gonna be able to eat? You know, and you know, and I think if I didn't have it, something would be wrong. You know, like
you should be scared.
I should be scared.
Absolutely.
You know, but the fear's driving me.
Thank God you're not just like, my kids will figure it out.
Yeah, right? Right. So, and also just change. I've been in one place for 13 years.
Yeah.
You know, but the letting go of this life, you know, the bar scene, the bar life, you know, I'm not involved in it. Like, I'm not a part of it, but I'm a distributor of it. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't live the bar life, except like I work late hours, but I don't drink. I don't, you know, I don't go out and party off my shifts and none of that.
Now,
right?
you know what I found since I've been there? I've not once. No, I have. I have a hard time telling people to come to Sharky's.
Right.
That's part of the job. Is like you're supposed to get people in the door.
Yeah.
My best friends, I don't really. I'm like, I said it jokingly. You know, I brought my brother there the other week.
Yeah.
Just watched him.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
That was
cute. That was hilarious. I loved it.
I made his drinks extra strong. he drinks Bacardi, coconut, and Coke. Yeah.
My cousin was there that night. He's a ex-Mormon, ex-Marine.
Yeah.
An intense dude.
Yeah.
Just figuring out about the world. I had to bring him to Sharky's.
Yeah. It can be very overwhelming for
But
some people.
my friends, I don't want them in there. Like,
Yeah. Same with my students. You know,
Yeah.
like I had a hard time getting you a job there and Brandon a job there.
Yeah.
You know, because I've gotten people jobs there and all their demons start to come out.
Yeah.
You know, it starts to test all that. They might have had it all subsided, you know, it's all been just, you know, down there and just because they're doing jiu-jitsu and they're,
Yeah.
you know, they got a family, whatever. But that place will test you.
Yeah.
And test all your demons. So I never, you know, I've fucked up a couple times and almost ruined some people's lives getting them jobs, you know, where I had to be like, look, you got to go, dude. You cannot work here anymore, man. I'm saving you right now. Get the fuck out of here.
See,
You
so I
know?
feel very grateful that didn't quite happen to me.
No, well,
But the big one that came up for me, man, is I thought I didn't care what people thought of me
yeah.
until I was around that many people looking at me, judging me,
Yeah.
saying shitty things to me.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be
And-
when you're newly into that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before I'd been there, man, I hadn't been in a bar in a year.
Yeah.
Literally. Hadn't been in one.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was this cool guy. I was like, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks, man. But here I am. I get terrified putting out podcasts. I get embarrassed advertising them. It's
Yeah.
all the same thing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
That's all the same part of the brain.
Yeah. It's the inner critic
Yeah.
coming in like, hey,
Massive.
Marshall,
Massive.
why are you so scared, Marshall? Why are you
Who
so
the fuck is
worried
going to
about-"
listen to you sweating, talking to this guy with a beard?
with a mantis in front of us?
Well, you think the mantis is going to get listeners?
Yeah, I gotta get him out of the sun there. Oh, whoa. He'll burn in the sun. There you go. Yeah, so I mean, that is the ugly world of the bar that people don't see. You know, there's a lot of suffering at the bar.
Yeah.
There's a lot of suffering at the bar, man. There's a small percentage that are great, have a good time, don't get overly fucked up where they don't know who they are,
Yeah.
and have a good time, call it a night.
There's a dude who comes into Sharky's, and he always comes up so excited to tell me how much weight he's lost.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him to do that.
Yeah.
But he sees something in me that, like, he's drunk, but he's like, dude, I just lost 7 pounds. That's awesome, man. Keep it
Imagine
up.
how much you would lose if you stopped drinking.
That's I keep telling him.
Yeah.
I call him this guy who does street judo.
Yeah.
Just
Street
mocking
judo.
him. You do street judo. But
Yeah, so-
the whole process you just described, man, was so beautiful. And actually, it's exactly in this this poem that, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to read it for us.
You know, how about you read it? Because I still have anxiety from when we had to do popcorn at school. And Spanish was my first language. So I had a hard time reading as a kid in front of people. So to this day, I still have a hard time reading in front of people.
So you don't think this is the best opportunity for you to overcome this?
Overcome the fears.
It's really simple. It's
I'd rather hear you say it because you have a beautiful voice. I sound like Duncan Trussell, a 60-year-old lesbian smoker, you know.
Okay, so I should set up what this is. So this is called the Ox Herder Poems. Traditionally it was in 8 pieces, and it's just the enlightenment process. This is the path of, you don't have to do Zen Buddhism to understand it. You can do any other religion takes care of this. You don't have to do jiu-jitsu. But this is the way that it was explained in the olden days.
Cool.
And so it is cool. There are images alongside, so maybe for the people you could explain the images.
Okay.
So this is in 10 parts. Number 1, searching for the ox. Searching through tall, endless grass, rivers, mountain ranges, the path trails off. Weary, exhausted, no place left to hunt. Maples rustle, evening, the cicada's song. So what's that guy doing?
He's walking through his path, through the grass.
Number 2, finding the tracks. Along the river, under trees, jumbled tracks. Thick, fragrant woods, is this the way? Though the ox wanders far in the hills, his nose touches the sky. He cannot hide. Number 3, seeing the ox. Oriole on a branch chirps and chirps. Sun warm, breeze through the willows. There is the ox, cornered, alone. That head, those horns, who could paint them? 4, catching the ox. Last desperate effort. Got him. Hard to control, powerful and wild. The ox sprints up a hill, and at the top, disappears into the misty clouds. 5, taming the ox. Don't lose the whip, hold on to the rope, or he'll buck away into the dirt. Herded well, in perfect harmony, you'll follow along without any constraint. 6, riding the ox home. Riding the ox home, taking it easy. The flute's notes vanish in the evening haze. Tapping time to a folk song, happy as can be. It's all too much for words. 7, ox forgotten. Reaching home on the back of the ox. Rest now, the ox forgotten. Taking a nap under the noon sun. Whip and rope abandoned behind the hut. 8, ox transcended. Whip, rope, self, ox. No traces left. Thoughts cannot penetrate the vast blue sky. Snowflakes cannot survive a red-hot stove. Arriving here, meet the ancient teachers. 9, returning to the source. Return to the source, no more effort, just staying at home, sitting in the hut, blind and deaf to the world outside. The river runs by itself, flowers are red. 10, entering the marketplace. Barefoot and shirtless, enter the market. smiling through all the dirt and grime. No immortal powers, no secret spells, just teach the withered trees to bloom.
Looks like some old wise teacher. Still waiting.
Man, I try to read this all the time because I took a while from it. I hadn't read it in years. I learned about this in college, and I came back and read it.
Philosophy class that would have benefited you more than the accounting. Clearly,
I read that and I started crying in my room.
Yeah, that's I would have to read that a couple times.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the ox is your ego, your demons, trying to tame it, and trying to be one with it, and because you can't really you can't lose the ego, you can't lose it. You got to learn to work with it, and you gotta tame that monkey mind.
Yeah.
You can't control the monkey mind. You gotta tame it.
One of the best delusions about Zen Buddhism is that once you get rid of the ego, it's just gone.
Yeah.
But no, that's why the central image of Zen is a circle.
Yeah.
Because everyone has moments where they get past it.
Yep.
We've all had those moments.
Yeah.
And you might feel good about it. It might last you a little while. It might last you a week.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
2 days.
It might be 2 days.
Yeah.
Might be a couple minutes.
Yep.
And it's right back.
Yeah, and that's
right back in there.
That's like happiness. It's like happiness isn't like a thing you could have forever. It comes in moments. It's a feeling that you get. In those clear moments. Where it's just like you're one with everything. And
I already got the ox.
Yeah,
Whew, forgot.
Yeah. It's and that's part of this whole process, right? I mean, people don't. A lot of people don't think of it. In that bar life, you see that where their ox is completely out of control.
Yeah.
And it's just booting everybody. And their horns are digging into everybody's chest. And
Hey, dude, can you control your ox?
Shit, right, dude? Yeah, people. Yeah, it's just that's the beauty of it.
Man, your ox shit on my shoes. Can you get your ox away from my children, please?
Why is your ox peeing on you right now?
Sorry, man, that's what he does.
It literally happened a couple of nights. Were you there at Sharky's when you were working?
You got peed on?
No, a guy peed on some girls on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Just whipped out his dick and started peeing. Like, bro, where, like, you are not here right now. How can you even, I mean, he was so fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's, no control of his ox.
Yeah.
Or his penis.
And what's the difference?
Yeah, right.
On that note, man, we've been talking for a long time.
Okay.
I didn't read a single question to you. That's the way it should be.
Throw one more out there. I'm having fun. We'll have to do a part 2, though, huh?
Part 2, 3, 4, 5. We could do this 1,000 times, man. I don't really care. These questions are bullshit. You answered all of them.
All right.
You're beautiful, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any
last messages for the people? 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu?
I just want to thank everybody for allowing and helping me live my dreams. I didn't really know what my dreams were, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I don't think anybody does, really, but it just kind of happens. I think, through all the self-work I've been doing and the journey of understanding people and being blessed with beautiful people around me, I'm putting myself in the right positions and having great teachers that got me to where now I could quit my job.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to wake up in the morning, make myself coffee at a normal hour, all right, 7 in the morning, like normal people.
Not give it 2 in the afternoon anymore.
Help my kids with their schoolwork, take them to their programs, go to the gym with my coffee in my hand, in my pajamas still, and just get to do jiu-jitsu and be around good people all the time.
Beautiful.
And it doesn't get there without a grind. And it doesn't get there, you don't get there without other people.
Yeah.
You don't. I think as you're growing, it's essential to bring people up with you, because if you don't bring people up with you, you're going to look back and no one's going to be there, and everyone's going to think you're a shitty prick, you know. And I know people like that, you know, and you're that guy at the bar being an asshole asking to see my W-2 and that you buy me and sell me, you know, like so I just want to thank everyone who's helped and who's ever been a student of mine and who's contributed to me being able to live my dream, because I wouldn't be able to do it without anybody else, you know. I mean, it just wouldn't happen, you know. And for people believing in me, really, I mean, I'm nobody, you know. I really am nobody, you know. I'm not a world champion, you know. I'm not even competing right now, but I have I love jiu-jitsu. I have a good understanding of it, you know, but not enough, you know. Yeah. And right when you think you got it, someone comes over and just spanks you and shows you know nothing. You know, and that's the beauty of it, you know. But yeah, I'm just so grateful, you know, for everything and for everybody and for believing in me. You know, like I said, I'm nobody. I'm just hungry to change people, you know, and to help people on their path. You know, I believe that we all reach our truest potential through service, you know. So, did we get cut off?
I don't think so. No, I think it's my headphones.
Okay.
Yeah. So the people who can help you, how can they help you out? 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Take a class.
10planetmonstersquad.com. Yeah, come in, take a class if you've never done jiu-jitsu before. If you have, and you're looking for a different place to push you, you know, you know, you're looking for a different culture, you know, we welcome everybody.
What about private lessons? You doing that?
You know what, man? I hate private lessons. To be honest, you got to pay me a lot of money to do private lessons. I hate them. You know, I really do. My time is super valuable right now with my kids. I got 3 of them, and my lady, and the gyms, and you know, I just, you know, and the students. I tend to stay away from private lessons. I'd rather give them to other people before me. But if you want, you know, and you're willing
and
to
he
pay,
could use the money. He's got the knowledge.
Sure.
Come pay the motherfucker.
Exactly.
Later.
Stepped out one morning, the ground to be his bed, the sky his awning.
Neon, 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 blue neon lamp in a midnight country field. Counts around, so you lean on, lean on. So much your hugs become holders. have sex good like burning wood. The wayward lad lay clean to two thirsty girls from home to